Here's a question. When's the last time a prospect tried to talk you down on price? Well, if you're like most, it's not rare. It's kind of routine. Here's the thing. That fight is already lost by the time it starts. The sales professionals who command a premium price aren't better negotiators. They just built the structure in advance, so price never really is up for debate. That's exactly what we're covering in this month's Insider, my monthly live coaching program for sales pros and leaders who want out of the commodity dungeon for good. If that's you, come check it out at advancedsellingpodcast.com/insider.
Welcome, everybody, to the Advanced Selling Podcast, the longest-running sales training podcast in the history of podcasting. My name is Bryan Neal.
I'm Bill Caskey.
Here every week for your listening enjoyment, as we have been for 19 years and I think 9 months now. We're sneaking up on our 20th anniversary in September, and we are having an extravaganza. Extravaganza. And so you can participate if you send us a little note or a little email at listener@advancedsellingpodcast.com. We're also going to have a little website. You can go and log a video or an audio. Tell us what the Advanced Selling Podcast has meant to you and why you listen every Monday and why you have for 20 years and why you're still in sales for 20 years after we've talked to you.
Try to talk you out.
We haven't done that. And then, listener at advancedsellingpodcast.com. Bill, we don't have assets up. Do we have,
we don't have anything up yet, but
yet.
Listener at Advanced Selling Podcast, best place to either communicate via a text like an email or send us an audio. I just was talking to a guy the other day who has a podcast, and he asked me to be on, and he told the story and I captured it. So this is a really good story about when he first started listening to the podcast, what he was doing in his life and how his world has changed. And now he has his own podcast. It's somewhat modeled after us, although he's got his own deal.
I'll take it. That's flattery.
Yeah.
So we want you to participate. We're going to have an event too, a live event in September. So details to come, but you need to get your ticket. And the way you get your ticket is you don't have to pay us. You just got to send us an email or a note or a video or audio is best to listener@advancedsellingpodcast.com. No matter where you are, just do that. Even if you say hi, I don't think you'd say this, but if you're like, I've been listening to you guys for 15 years and you still suck, you can say that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I'd question your judgment, but not about us sucking, but why you keep listening. But anyway.
Years, yeah, right.
And if you're the guy who hates this banter part, the
one guy.
We know. One guy.
Yeah. Anyway. Here's something that happened. Speaking of banter, as an older dude, I have a language that's different. We're going to talk about that today. A language that's different than a lot of young people. And so I was at Starbucks, of course, the other day at my home Starbucks, and they all know me there and, all that. And there was nobody around the counter. There was nobody. And so I waited a few minutes, being a polite guy that I am. And finally, I'm like, hey, anybody back there? And this lady comes out, who I know. She goes, "Oh, Bill, I'm sorry. I got you." And I ordered a little espresso drink. And I said, "Oh, thank you. Thank you so much." She goes, "That'll be $3.27. And my contention is that when she said, "Oh, Bill, I'm sorry. I got you," it meant that she was going to buy it.
Right.
Now, when you go into a bar with a bunch of people out and you say, "Hey guys, I got this," it means my treat, means I'm buying. Yeah. But I gotcha is a little bit different than I got this.
Yes.
But wouldn't you have thought, since it was late and since I was trying to find somebody, and when the tonality, like Kara said, the tone is the important thing.
Yes.
I got you. Meaning, who else? There's nobody else in line, so I got you. What else would it mean? So what do you weigh in on that?
Oh, that's funny. When you first said it, I didn't take it as she was paying. I took it as she was going to take care of you. That was my first hit. And now that you say that, it makes complete sense the other direction. So part of it is, this is interesting, so it's going to get into our topic, is in what mindset is the receiver of that? Because you were in the, not irritated, but a little bit like, I come here all the time, I spend a lot of my tip, but where's everybody? And then you're a loyal customer. So the story of her, "Hey, I got you," makes a ton of sense. Bill's in here all the time. He takes good care of us. He gives us, extra tips around the holidays. $3.27, I can handle that. We can write that one off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I've been in that Starbucks. There's a guy there, really nice young man, and occasionally he'll buy me a drink. And the way he buys this, I got you.
Yeah.
And
See,
it was a little hand signal there.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Your money's no good here.
Right. I got you. Put that back.
So anyway,
put that back.
And then today I ran into, and this is another language thing. I ran into, this is a little bit different than language. I ran into Trent,
yeah.
Trent, and he might even be listening. And there's one certain way to bring the conversation to a halt.
Yeah.
And that is, I said, "What are you doing now?" He says, "I'm mining Bitcoin." I've heard that from people before, and I never know what to do with it, because I want to say, well, what does that exactly mean? Knowing full well I'm not going to understand the next 10 sentences.
Right, exactly.
So I asked that question. So anyway.
I didn't know he was doing that. What a great gig. Set it and forget it. You know what I mean? But very complicated and a smidge risky. But that's great. That's funny.
I admire somebody who is so innovative that they can take a concept that probably 10 years ago didn't even exist, and they're working through it and they're entering into it. But anyway, I thought that topic of language, not from Trent necessarily, but I gotcha language, imprecise language, I think sometimes gets us stuck in as a sales professional, business owner, or as a leader of your team. And when the language is imprecise, it tends to have an effect on the process and on where people think they are in the process. And I know that you're adamant about, at the end of a call, let's set up another meeting. Let's have a clear future. Let's have a date in the calendar. That would be an instance of precise language. So we're not just saying, "Hey, I'll get back with you sometime soon." We're being very precise with that. But I find that that's more it's rare. That's rare.
Interesting. That is a great topic. And one we haven't done in a while. We've been doing a lot of mindset stuff and a lot of process stuff. And now we're getting into more the art of selling, which is the language part of it.
Yeah.
And it brought me back, and I was looking for someone who I think you would know who this is. And I just realized how old he is. He seemed so young to me before. You remember Frank Luntz, Luntz, political pollster?
Yeah.
He wrote a phenomenal book a while ago, 2007, called Words That Work. Words That Work. It's not what you say, it's what people hear. And he is responsible for a lot of, and I think he's bipartisan, maybe a little GOP, Republican, I don't remember, but he did. So he came up with some of these things, like instead of, should we let, homosexual people into the army? There's a big, huge social issue. He came up with this concept: don't ask, don't tell. Don't ask, don't tell. If I have that right, I think I have the application of that right. So little things like that. The war on drugs, like these little words that, like, hey, we're going to stop, it's like became the war on drugs, and it carried this thing. And so it's a really good book if you're looking for ways to say things that are more direct, that have an impact, that can be received well by the listener. So we get our point across more.
Yeah, that's good.
Reminded me of that.
Good. Yeah, because communication, our ability to communicate either complex concepts or simple concepts to another person, is what pays us.
Yes.
Right? There's if you're good at this, and you're good at setting the stage, and you're good at all the things that we talk about on here, you will make a lot of money in sales, because people will trust you more. They'll understand you. You'll be able to explain yourself. They'll know where they're going. They'll know what the next step is. And so I don't think communication should be complicated, but what you just said is true. It's not about what we intend. It's about what they hear.
Yes.
And if we're not careful, we think, well, we're really good. People, one thing I'm really good at is communicating, and then you think you're really not. But so let's talk about some ways that imprecise language might affect the buyer-seller dance.
Yeah.
Maybe from us, but it also goes the other way too, because they can have imprecise language. Then it's up to us to clarify. But
well, I'll start with a real example of one you just used, that we changed some language. So we teach, extreme calendar clarity is a concept we have in our operating system, and tactically how that shows up is we schedule meetings, our next step meetings, while we're sitting there in the meeting we're in. In the agenda, we used to recommend putting the word calendars as the last step. So you'd have a sales agenda. If I'm selling to Bill, we have 5 or 6 things in the agenda. And the last thing was always calendars. Okay. Calendars. And then I thought, that's kind of vague. Calendars. What does that even mean? I said, let's be more specific and directive and actionable around what we say. So now the last thing says, get calendars out. Get calendars out. That's the last agenda item. And if you said that to anyone, I say, what does get calendars out mean? Everyone will look at you funny and they'll go, get your calendars out. I'm like, exactly. If I said, what does calendars mean? They're like, I have no idea. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know the context.
That's a great example of just being more precise.
Literally. And for years, we were teaching calendars, calendars if needed. We would say that sometimes too. I'm like, why are we being so vague here? Just say what it is. And then when you do that, the buyer sees that. They know exactly what's going to happen. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm going to get my calendar out. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Get it out. So that's a real example where we changed our own stuff because of this topic.
Yeah.
This confusion.
There's something that I've been recommending for the last couple of years to my clients because I'm a believer in, you got to have some kind of follow-up, next step, clear future, whatever you want to call it. But then I think if you're in a complex sale where there's a few of them and a few of you, and there's a lot of moving parts, I think it's important to also say, here's what's going to happen in that next meeting. Here's what I'd like to cover, or here are the topics that I think I would suggest we talk about in the next meeting. So that way we're not just booking a call, we're booking a call with an expectation of what the topics and what the agenda is. And that way, when they include somebody else from their company in the process, they will be able to say, here's what we're going to be talking about, A, B, C, D, and E. I think that creates a little bit more compelling narrative than just, we're going to have a meeting with Bryan and we're going to talk about operating systems and training. I think anytime you can be more specific and precise with the expectation, and this could happen at any part of the process.
That's so good. And I would, another language, I'm not really getting to how it hurts it, more like how to help it, I think here. And we teach this as a concept that we have a mechanics manual that kind of teaches people these kind of mechanics. And one of the things it talks about is, as much as possible in your communication, use numbered lists to communicate things. Yeah. So to your point just now, hey, so in the next meeting, we're going to cover 3 things.
Yeah.
1, 2,
right.
and 3,
Perfect.
And one of the reasons we recommend that is, one, it's much clearer to understand as the buyer, but the other side, it's way easier for you to communicate, right? Instead of you just like, oh, they talk about this, and then we'll talk about that, and they'll do this a little bit. That just like, and then it always trails. It's 3 things. 1, 2, 3, like that.
I love that. In fact, I'm gonna add on to that not
Please.
just then, but I've got a client who I'm helping create a presentation flow, and one of the most important parts of that in the first 3 or 4 slides is, what do we observe in the marketplace today? What we're in this world and we observe several things. And so she was going through it and she goes, well, I've got the observation slide. And I said, well, just rattle it off to me. Let's not look at the slide. Just let me hear you talk. And she went on and on and on and on and on. And I'm like, at some point I stopped and said, Ruth, I'm not sure how many of these are there. Are you the way through? And she goes, well, there's 5 of them. And I'm like, what number are we on?
Right.
The point there is, I said, if there's 5 trends that your prospect needs to be aware of, say, look, there's 5 trends. Here's trend number 1.
Awesome.
Here's trend number 2. People then know, A, you're helping them consume the information better because they know where they are in the process. 2, B, you are you're precise, and there's something about this. How you do anything is how you do everything. And if you're precise with your language, you're going to be precise with the solution. They're going to judge you a lot on how they feel in the communication process. So
yes,
I think what you said is perfect. The whole 3 things, and then use that everywhere. If there's 5, if there's 12, that's a lot. But
or say there's 12, and I've picked the top 4 that are relevant to this situation.
There you go.
It's so easy to understand. I'm like, I got it.
So
there's another part to this, and this is a little debatable in a lot of sales training courses, philosophies, methodologies, whatever. So there's the concept of the open-ended question, right? So what are your biggest problems? What are your biggest issues? These days, I feel like that is causing a little more harm than good. We've been taught that, like, this is awful, but people still say, what keeps you up at night? I'm like, oh, God, don't say that anymore.
I hate that.
It's just no reason, like nothing. We get Ambien now, and
Benadryl, Ambien,
right? So nothing does. So rather to contextualize a question around something that I know, and then ask an answer that demands a more direct answer. So not necessarily yes or no, but if I said, so I've heard 3 things from you so far. I've heard about CRM, cleanliness. I've heard about top of funnel, and then I've heard about just rep efficiency in the field. If you had to stack rank those 3 things, put them in order for me. 1's the most important, then 2, then 3, and tell me why you put each one there.
Yeah,
that's a more direct question that guides a better answer. Just like, so what all problems do you have here? Oh, tell me more about those, because that's what we've been taught. I was taught that. Tell me more about those. It's very vague. Like, make them answer something.
I agree. Totally agree. And stack rank. So, because you might think instead of what's your most pressing problem right now, be more thorough about it. What these 5 problems, stack rank them. Number 5, you know what? And then the person starts saying, well, you know what? I numbered that 5, but really that's probably 2 or 3. And then you just work through it.
That's it.
Love that. Here's another one that I feel like we're not very good at as sales professionals. And this gets back to, you have to be detached from the outcome, I think, in order to use this. It's a little bit of an advanced strategy, but that is when the customer has a decision to make. So let's say you've been in and you've worked through things and you've got their dilemmas, you understand their problems, what you're trying to accomplish. You're good with that. But at the end, they still have an option. One option is to do nothing, live with the problem. Mm-hmm. One option is to buy from you or engage you. One option is to fix the problem, but not with you. I think it's good if from a precise language standpoint, if you can say, look, as I understand it, right now where we sit, you've got several options. Number 1 is you can choose to kind of live with the problem. You can choose to, and whatever I just said. That way, you're kind of recapping not just the content, but also the process. They've got a decision to make. Yes. And before they make the decision of who I'm going to use, they have to decide, am I going to use anybody? Maybe I should just live with this. I've lived with it for 20 years. Maybe I should just continue to live with it. This big knot on my nose, I've lived with it for that long. So what the? No.
So exactly right.
Why are you getting that knot fixed now, Bill? Well, I can't get through doors because this thing is growing. The point there is you can say things that you don't think you can say. Yeah. And if you say them in the right way, it really helps clarify the issue. That's really what you're doing, is clarify the issue.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. And I'm going to add an example for my final answer here today on language is in the case where a customer is asking us things that might sound clarifying or might sound like resistance. There's always a reason they ask something. And I think too often we answer the question with a, does that make sense? I don't know, I say that sometimes, but I know, but and they go, yeah. I know. What's most important is why they ask that.
Okay.
So if I said, good, we good. I know I do that occasionally.
We're good on that. We're good on me explaining a difficult concept in 30 seconds. Yeah. We good? Y'all understand that?
I will say that does that make sense is a tonal thing too, as Kara said, because you can do the Gen Z version. Does that make sense? Like pat you on the head. I want to make sure I'm clear here. Like, we good? I explained that really quickly. It's more I'm taking ownership. Anyway, but if you ask me, well, can 5 of my leaders get certified in your operating system? I would say, yeah, they can. What are you thinking? Yeah. Well, I had 2 and I get these other 3. I'm like, tell me who else you got. I just want to know what's behind it. But so many often a seller, an eager seller, when we're set up to certify 2 and the buyer says, can we do 5? The eager seller goes, well, yeah, of course. We love that.
Yeah.
We love that. Exactly. Like, why did they ask that? And who were they thinking of? And are those other 3 the right ones?
Now?
Exactly.
5.
Yeah. Well, because that means let's see. Oh, yes, extra grand. Yeah, sure. Grand for commission for me. Sure.
No, that's good. It's like every question comes from somewhere. And if we're not willing to say, and I never like why do you ask that question? I never like that because it's like, I ask it because I'm interested. But your answer is, Yeah, we can do that. Always answer the question unless it's a question you literally can't answer.
Yes.
But I would always answer the question and say, "What are you thinking there? Tell me what's
where's it coming from?" Yeah.
Tell me what the question. Yeah. But it's precise because now not only do you know what they ask, but you know why they ask it, where it came from, and you telling me you can't do more with that than just the question itself. Of course you can.
Totally.
So let us know what you learned from this. You can go to LinkedIn, advancedselling.com/LinkedIn. I know we have a plethora of people on there, but if you have something that maybe you have witnessed as a leader or as a sales professional, maybe it's prospect vague language, let us know. And we can either do a follow-up episode here or just what you learned. Leave us a message on LinkedIn. That'd be awesome. So good. Can't wait to see it. Our 20th year anniversary extravaganza. Buy your tickets.
Buy your tickets by emailing us, listener@advancedsellingpodcast.com, and send us a note there, video or an audio.
That's awesome. I'll see you next time.
Bye.